Peace, family. Vicki Dillard here. Thank you so much for tuning into African Diaspora News Channel. Please make sure you give us a big thumbs up and share the broadcast. Thank you so very much. Family, I came across this fascinating lecture from, let's just say, social entrepreneur, philosopher, and leader, motivational speaker as well, of course, and writer, Joshua Maponga. My understanding is that he was born in Zimbabwe, and he gives such insight into the continent at large. He made some very interesting statements here. Watch this clip.
By nature, so that it preserves the very landscape, the airspace, and the water space in which we live. There's a time in our country here in Africa where we would drink water from any river and it was not poisonous until you guys came. True or false? We would go hunting, we would go farming, we would go herding cattle, and while we are there, we would drink water and come back home. There was no diarrhea, there was no problem, because our rivers used to be pure. Now while they are digging gold, they are washing the cyanide into the rivers. Now while they are flushing their toilets, they are allowing drainage to go into the river. Now while they are making their chemicals, they are blowing carbon monoxide and phosphates into the atmosphere. Now while they are digging other things, they are throwing them on the ground. I wonder, because I walked in Manhattan the other day in New York City, I walked in Bronx and California, and I wonder if Africa becomes another California, what kind of air are we going to breathe? I wonder if we become another London. By the way, the water in London, there's a river there, don't even put your finger in it. Even dogs don't drink that water. It's one of the dirtiest rivers on the face of the earth. All the junk of London is inside there. And I wonder, when we are talking about development, what kind of water are we going to drink? And ultimately, what kind of food are we going to eat? Our idea, therefore, of development must not become so wrapped up in colonial profits over people. Hello? Profits over people. Because at the end of you having your Rolls Royce, your Gucci glasses, sweet perfume under your armpit, when you get back home, will you have a plate of food? Or now you need a mask even to breathe? So development, therefore, must be ecologically friendly. Ecological friendliness. I call that EQ, ecological intelligence. Ecology and preservation. I'm sorry to say this to our colonial and white brothers and sisters, that you did not understand us well when you hear us talking to each other and say, oh, when I'm benyati, when I'm busy, when I'm tall, when I'm fakudze. They thought these Africans are just mentioning things that are not related. They are animistic when they go to school. These people believe and worship animals. No, shut up a little bit and listen to those who know their culture well. It is meant that every family and every tribe is identified with a certain animal. Why? It means that therefore you don't eat that animal. And you preserve that animal. So when you go hunting and you're of the nyatis, you can be very sure you come back home, you don't bring a nyati home, because you'll have killed your senna. So our concept of eating from the bush was not just wrecking and eating everything same time. No, you eat selectively so, and preserve and conserve animals as your totems would do. And if you wanted to do some psychology, if you know the animal which is of your totem, you might well just find out that gives much of the character of which you have also. There's another science to that. So the king preserves the air, the king preserves the land, and finally the king preserves the waters. And the totems of the waters are the ngwenyas, are the nklengetwas, are the fish, are the manzis, are the everything that is found in the water. And therefore, you understand that being royal, therefore, is not just being royal by name, but being royal is a conservatory concept, which tells you as a leader that the birds depend on you, the ants depend on you, the fish depend on you. Our development, therefore, as Africans, must put this information into cognizance so that we don't become destructive in the midst of development.
Isn't that powerful? How he schooled the colonialists, the Westerners, and just shut down this notion that Africans just, worship animals and so forth. You know, our understanding as a multidimensional people is always going to be misunderstood from a linear minded oppressor who believes in your demise, often dismembered your body, took your land, and believes that you have no right to exist. The mind of an individual that moves like that, you got to school them and put them in their place. Talk black to me, somebody. Which he just does brilliantly there. Did you see that? How he breaks down the totems and what the animal represents to each people and each tribe? But he also said something very powerful about the waters when he said we were able to drink from any water, any river, right? Until you people came. He talked about how they extracted from the land and through the means of extraction, they poison the water and they poison the air and so forth. He talked about prosperity and some of the things that perhaps some of our African brothers and sisters are beginning to enjoy, like certain perfumes. And he even mentioned, I believe, the Gucci glasses and so forth, which in my opinion is just fine. But just make sure that we keep the main thing, that we're keeping intact our land, our ecological space, which is the atmosphere of living. Yes. Shout out to our philosophical brother and leader, Brother Joshua Maponga. My name is Vicki Dillard. I can't wait to hear what you have to say below in the comments. Be sure to join my highly effective supernatural school. Everything you see came from everything you can't see. I teach you about that at clubvicky.com. The link is below. Be sure to share this broadcast from African Diaspora News Channel. I can't wait to see you again.